I used to joke with my friends and my wife that I wanted to open up my own barbershop and call it Cut My Hair in Silence, because I was so tired of forcing small talk with barbers that just didn't give a shit about me. For years, I've gone from barber to barber all over my city, and the experiences just kept getting worse. Mediocre haircuts, unprofessional interactions, annoying experiences. The same can be said for software buyers who go from demo to demo looking for the best tool for their business, and they just want a competent salesperson who can answer technical questions honestly and quickly with fair pricing. It's someone who can multi-thread into their business and bring in decision makers to make the process smoother. Someone who can arm you as the champion to sell internally to their boss. Someone that you can just maybe have a beer or a coffee with because they're cool, they're fun, they're interesting. I am a connoisseur of really good customer service and expert sales prowess, because I believe there's an art to building relationships with authenticity and vulnerability in a way that leaves people feeling great and coming back for more, which is exactly why I brought in one of my best friends, my barber, and the founder of Bayview Barber, Nicholas Bellaro, to talk about how he's succeeded and failed at turning strangers into lifelong customers for the last decade in the hospitality industry. Nick, welcome to the show, my dude.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
It's good to have you here. Nick, you've been to my wedding. You've pet sat for me. You've cut my hair for the last few years. You're basically like family. It's great to have you here. Our audience has a ton to learn from you. But to kick things off, I want to show you a quick clip that encapsulates how bad some barbershop conversations can be.
Okay, so just a trim today?
Yeah, man, nothing major, just a bit of a tidy.
Great. And is this your first time here?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, great, welcome.
Thank you.
What do you do?
I am a programmer, actually. What about you?
The awkward silence. I love to zoom in on all the tools.
Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you.
He's just like, I'm out of here. All right, Nick, this leads me to my very first question for you. What is the most awkward customer experience you've had while cutting someone's hair?
I have definitely been in that same position a handful of times. I have this one client always ask me to pet sit for him
Oh, okay.
all the time, pick up packages.
Really clingy.
Really clingy.
Asked you to come on his podcast.
But yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, I mean, I've had a few, maybe some swinging experiences of invites that were declined, but yeah, there's
Some like inappropriate sexual advances.
There's some.
Okay.
Yeah.
That can happen, man.
It does.
You're in the customer service and hospitality industry.
It's
Those things
true.
happen.
Yeah.
Have you ever had somebody like get angry with you or get angry in the shop you've been working in?
Yeah, I'd say a couple times.
How do you usually handle it?
Honestly, kill them with kindness. I don't want to say the customer is always right, because they're not, but kill them with kindness, and then you can always just kindly ask them to not come back.
Just to safely get them out of your store.
Yeah, for sure.
And then be like, hey, by the way, maybe you shouldn't come back anymore. Maybe we're not the best.
We're not the
barbershop.
best fit for you.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so let's start this off. Let's go into the first part of this episode, which is ensuring a thoughtful and seamless booking process. I love the fact that you allow clients to book their appointments online. It's not something that's like relatively like, ingenious or new, right? But it's something that's really accessible. And honestly, some barbershops here locally don't even offer that. So as a barber, you've mostly adopted an appointment-only mindset. And this translates to the business world because a lot of folks are trying to book demos or book, a sales consultation call, whether you're selling software or solar panels or whatever. Why have you adopted like this appointment-only or appointment mostly mindset?
I don't think there's anything wrong with not doing that, but for us, it has just become an easier thing. I have a busy life, personal life, social life, business life. So I like to be on schedule. I like to know exactly where I'm going to be at what time, who I'm seeing. So for me, it made more sense. And I think the clientele that we have built is the same way. You know,
I think as a customer, it builds into a better relationship because you've never been running late.
For sure.
You're usually early, to be honest. And that consistency is just like, he values my time. So I need to value his.
And that's, time is valuable, time is money,
Yeah.
you know? So in a digital world where we're all doing meetings all the time, you need to know where you're going to be, who you're going to be with, at what time.
Okay, so what went into you selecting the tool you use? And what tool do you use for booking?
So we run our website through Squarespace.
Okay.
It was just the most accessible, easy, user-friendly for us.
Yep.
Their sister company is called Acuity. It's their booking service. For me, it was a seamless process. That was what I wanted. I did not want you to go to our website, click on a link that brings you to a different website to make a booking. I wanted everything to be just on our website. So for me, the Squarespace and their sister company just made the most sense for us.
Had you already used it like prior?
No, it was my first time using it. Okay. Honestly, the biggest thing was that it was seamless.
Yeah.
That's all I really wanted. I think it just looks cleaner. It's easier to get set up. You're not opening up different tabs and pages.
Cool.
So, yeah.
This episode is not brought to you by Squarespace, but go check them out. I've used them for my wedding website, and it was ease of use and the nicest looking templates. And it sounds like, too, if you're setting up a small to medium-sized business where booking is important to you, that their scheduling software works pretty well. And the reminders are awesome, too. That's another thing we've talked about on previous episodes. Ensuring that somebody actually shows up to the appointment and doesn't waste your time or waste their own time or piss you off or whatever. Is I get text message reminders. I also get the
email notifications.
I also get the ability to link my calendar. Once I've booked the appointment, it's like, would you like to add this to your calendar? And it's like, yes, I use Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Doomp. And that's how I don't miss appointments. In case, well, sometimes I'm late and I'm sorry. All right. So what would you say are other parts that are important to you that you use to like ensure a like thoughtful booking process? Is it maybe something you do with your website or just like before a customer ever even steps into your shop?
Well, honestly, like you said, we have all the notifications. You know, you book, make your appointment, you get an email, you can add it right to your calendar. You get a text notification, I believe, when you book, and then an hour before. And, you know, it's just thanks for booking an appointment with us, and, you know, we'll see you soon.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to ask was that you do with your pre-booking process is you have optional pay.
True, yes.
What goes into that thought process of not requiring pay or just being like, nah, fuck it, you don't have to pay?
So we require credit card information up front.
Okay.
And that is just to ensure our time.
Yep.
You know, our time is money, like we said. So if you do not show up, my barbers, my employees, they still get paid.
Yep.
You know, we work in a very different field than most where if we're not working, we're not making money.
Yeah.
So your credit card's required up front. If you don't want to pay up front, that is totally fine.
Yeah.
But we have found, again, in a digital world, no one really has cash anymore.
Yeah.
Especially with a global pandemic, cash kind of disappeared. So people really just love that they can book an appointment, pay, they show up to their appointment, and it just alleviates that like awkward interaction after the haircut. It's thanks for coming in. I'll see you soon.
As they're counting how many ones they're going to give you for a tip.
Exactly.
Like, oh shit. This guy's got like $100. He's not going to give me anything.
Yeah.
And you do have the like, how much would you like to tip? Which I know there's some controversy of like when they flip the tablet over and it's like, you know, at a restaurant or something. But I do actually think that's really smart as an employer because like you said, you have, you manage, you know, other barbers inside of your shop to ensure that they're, you know, being taken care of. And one of the things I noticed between when I've been getting my haircut by you for a couple of years, when you were at your last shop, I always had to Venmo you. And this wasn't a big deal at all. But now that you offer me the ability to just pay you, and then I'm like, I love this guy. I'm just going to give him like a, you know, $10, $15 tip. I'm just going to do it. And I don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
I don't have to worry, like, did I pay Nick? Because I've walked out of the shop and not paid you before. And you were kind enough to not say anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit, dude.
I'll Venmo you later, and then it never comes.
And then they never come back. So I think it is a smart tactic, and it ensures a better process for both the end user and for you as a business owner. Cool. All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk about conversation skills, building rapport, and creating trust with your clientele. This is one place where I see business people, entrepreneurs, sales and marketing professionals struggle a lot. It's just general conversation skills. Whether it's like Zoom calls, phone calls, that actually can get even trickier because there's like a different dynamic if you can only hear someone or you're like looking at a screen. Here is a quick clip that I found on TikTok. Her name is Arlen, and she runs a series of videos that she puts out where she helps people with anxiety on how to have more productive social interactions.
Have you ever had a problem where you're in a conversation with someone and you completely run out of things to say? Both of you are standing there awkwardly and you're just trying to come up with something else to talk about. If this has happened to you, I have a tip. Instead of thinking of something new to say, go back to something that you've already talked about, especially if it's something the other person brought up. This is called conversational threading, and it's so much easier. If you do this, I promise the conversation will get back on track. My name is Arlen. I'm the Social Anxiety Guide.
Cool, thanks. I love that tip. When I watched this video, I was like, Nick does this.
Yeah.
Son of a gun. He does it all the time, and I don't even know that you're doing it.
That's true. I used it just today.
Do you remember what the example was?
We were talking about, I think, movies and new movies coming out. The conversation kind of died off, and it got a little awkward for a hot second. So I was just like, hey, did you see that new trailer for that movie?
Yeah.
And it just brings the conversation right back. And they're obviously excited about that because they brought it up to begin with. And they want to keep talking about that. So.
Are there any other conversational tricks that you like to use for new customers to just kind of get things rolling? You know, maybe it's not with me. I've been seeing you for years, but maybe it's somebody that's for first time in the shop. What are some kind of like avenues you try to pursue?
For me, I really just let the client lead the conversation. I know a lot of people sometimes don't want to talk during a haircut.
Yeah.
So I'll ask my basics. How are you? You know, what do you want to do today? Ask about family, friends, pets. And if it doesn't really go anywhere and they're not feeling too talkative, just let them sit in silence. There's nothing wrong.
Usually have good music playing.
Yeah,
so
I think people really enjoy it sometimes that I'm not poking and prodding and trying to pull out all of the info. And I realized recently I'm still getting phone calls from a car dealership that I inquired about a car a year and a half ago. Like, I'm not responding, maybe it's time to just like let me not respond,
Yeah.
So if someone isn't feeling talkative, that's fine.
Yeah.
So
it's reading the body language and reading the
sure.
situation.
For sure.
What are a few things besides reading the body language that you do or say to try to get people to be a little bit more at ease when you first meet with them?
Everyone loves a good compliment. And even if it's something as small as, hey man, I really like your shoes.
You just did that to me like 20 minutes ago.
And it made you feel great. And
Made me feel great.
I never wear these shoes, but now I'm going to because you complimented me,
Son of a gun, you're a whiz.
Or, hey, I really like that shirt. Something as simple as that. Instantly their body language changes. They feel like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, they're nice. They're not judging me. I feel good. So, yeah.
Damn, I like that one.
Little baby compliments go a long way.
Yeah. Even if you're on a Zoom call, you could just say like, hey, is that a fish tank in your background?
Or your hair looks great today.
Yeah. Okay. Instead of just saying like, crazy weather we're having here. Like, what's up like there with you? God, I fucking hate that. Okay. Going back to something we brought up earlier, conversational threading here, discussing money and payment can be awkward sometimes. What tips do you have for business professionals, entrepreneurs who are trying to overcome some of the awkwardness of asking for payment?
Yeah. So threading back to what we already discussed, we alleviated that by getting rid of it it's on our website. You can just pre-book, prepay. You don't even have to discuss it.
Yeah. So method number one,
Just get rid of it.
come up with a tool that makes it so you don't have to have the conversation.
Exactly. I think that's honestly a great way to do it. We've been talking about just going strictly to that. Prepay, you're done. You're in and out. There's no conversation.
Might be something like just to test out and see like how does
sure.
it go, get
For sure.
feedback from some of your customers.
Other than that, I mean, we are providing a service, and I think it comes down to just you have to ask for it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things I think you just have to overcome. We're providing a service. You're in our business. So
I think what you're saying with that is like you're reminding folks that it's okay to ask for
sure.
money. Like, I'm worth money because I'm giving you a service.
I'm doing something for you.
Yeah.
And it's my job.
Yeah.
So
that's a good reminder to folks that maybe you're uncomfortable or
overthinking.
I think what you said, they're just not used to it. Yeah. And you just, once you've done it a few times, you're like, it's no big deal anymore. Okay, cool. What is something that new barbers get wrong with conversations or customer experiences when they're first starting out?
They talk too much. It's plain and simple.
Shut up.
I have worked with so many people that they don't like silence. And there's nothing wrong with silence sometimes. And I think that's why so many people like to sit in my chair. You just have to read body language. And if someone doesn't want to talk, if they're giving you short one-word answers, maybe just don't talk, And just trying to draw that out of people, and you start talking too much, you're fumbling, you're saying silly things, it's awkward. I think new barbers just, they get nervous and they start talking and rambling, and people just don't care.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about before we hit record, a couple of the guys in the studio here. And my joke at the beginning, like, I want to open up a barbershop. This is like, just cut my hair quietly. Like, just shut up and cut my hair.
And also just be a nice person too, like just be friendly, be genuine, and if just read the body language. And I think that can go to all types of sales.
Yeah.
It's not just in the barbering world. It's you just have to kind of feel what the person you're talking with is feeling.
So a cool thing that that I learned, there's call tracking software that a lot of sales companies or sales organizations use, where every sales call is recorded and then they aggregate all that data and they put out a study. It's pretty common knowledge in some spaces, but the best salespeople who have the best outcomes are most likely to hit quota, are most likely to close deals or book appointments or whatever, are the ones who adopt a 70 to 30 listening to speaking ratio. They're listening 70% of the time and talking 30.
Yeah. It's a good one.
You're doing it right now. All right. The last question on like the conversation skills and building rapport. Looking at yourself, where do you feel you've grown the most with your, customer service or building lifelong customers?
I didn't always take the criticism well. If someone was in a bad mood and was kind of treating me poorly, I definitely used to maybe react negatively towards them, or I'd be a little more standoffish. But you really just have to treat everyone the way you want to be treated, especially in a sales position. If you're buying a product, you want them to treat you a certain way. So I try and approach it the same way. If I'm in a barber chair, I'm going to treat my client the same way I want to be treated. And as far as, who has taught me or what has taught me, just therapy and mental health, and just talking to people nicely and just communicating in a nice manner.
Yeah.
Just be a good person, and yeah.
I think the thing that stands out too with you is like just the authenticity. Like everybody I meet is like, I like that guy Nick. And it's not just that you're likable, it's that they're like, he's just like a real dude. Yeah. I don't feel like he's putting on any airs. I don't feel like he's doing anything extra. And so, yeah, I would say that
used to drive me nuts when my mom would say, treat others how you want to be treated. But it's so true.
Yeah.
I want to be treated nicely, and I'm going to treat everyone the way I want to be treated.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a pretty simple thing that I think people overlook.
The other thing that I think where I've learned from you and just being your friend and like going out to restaurants and stuff is just like you are really good about being consistent customer of a place you like and like tipping well, you know, treating others as you like to be treated. But just we go around and I'm like, you're the mayor of St. Pete over here, man. Like everywhere we go, it's like, hey, Nick, whoa, what's up, Nick? And I think that's a tip that a lot of folks in sales and customer experience need is just like going to places consistently and showing up, whether that's on LinkedIn and trying to be active on social media, whether that's at different conferences or whether that's, you know, checking in with where your customers are at, wherever that might be virtually or in person, and doing it over and over and over. And you're like, all of a sudden, like a regular.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you've become, and that's one of your tactics, whether you realized it or not, is just being a regular and that consistency.
I definitely did realize it. It was intentional.
Okay.
I did see someone speak about doing that, and it's a great way to build rapport and clientele, friends. You know, you pick one coffee shop or one restaurant and you go every day for a month.
Yeah.
You know, you buy a coffee and you tip well. Those people will remember you, and when they see you, it becomes friendly and, hey, how are you? And then you're in on, you know, a more personal level to draw them into your business.
Dude, that's like the most subtle, like small thing to do for drumming up new business. Like that's super dope. Are you ready to play the game?
I am ready.
Are you in or out?
I am ready.
All right, dude, let's do it. All right, my first statement for you, you're going to tell me if you agree with it or you disagree with it, if you're in on it or you're out. A customer has 3 strikes of being unruly before you refuse them service.
I'm going to say out on that one.
Out. What goes into that decision for you?
I think it's really situational. You know, I will give most people 3 strikes.
Yeah.
But if something really comes off that rubs me the wrong way, it's just not a good fit.
Yeah.
And I have told numerous people, hey, like, I appreciate you and your business, but I don't think I'm a good fit for you. And it's as simple as that.
How does that usually go? Like,
it's never received well, as you can imagine. Like, hey, I'm paying you, you know, to do my hair. And then someone saying like, hey, I don't want you to come back. It's never going to be received well. You do risk the bad review or some smack talk, you know, but it's important, and you have to stand up for what you believe in and what makes, you know, we all have to be happy too. So if our views don't align, if our morals don't align, you know, I'll give you 1 shot, you know. Like I said, most people I'll give 2, 3, 4, you know, but there's definitely been a one and done.
I think it's great advice for business owners, especially who are like, I need the business. And you're like, yeah, but are you willing to sacrifice your own mental health, your own happiness, to just make money? And like, you can find other customers that are not going to treat you like that. I
was at a point where I would see a certain client's name and it would really, I'd be like, oh, this client again, and, you know, and they finally got to the point, I gave them 3, 4, 5 shots. And then there was a point I was like, listen, this is not the fit. You know, I think you should probably go somewhere else now. And yeah, they might leave a bad review, but if you look at bad reviews on Yelp, on Google, typically you can tell when it's like someone just being angry, you know, for no reason. And that also then draws in the clients and the people that we do want. You know, this person kicked me out of the barbershop because I was in a bad mood or whatever they say.
I said something that was like anti-gay or whatever. And you're like, hey,
people whose morals do align with us will see that and be like, oh, that's really cool that they stood up for that and kicked them out. And you really get more from it. So
yeah, well said. All right. So you're out on that one. I can totally get it. Number 2, being liked by a customer is more important than your own haircutting skills.
100% in. I think giving a good haircut is important, giving a good service is important, but it's not always about that. I always tell new barbers, you can be a mediocre barber, but be consistent, be friendly, be likable. It's about the experience. Do you feel good when you leave the shop? And that is something that I don't know if you've ever noticed. I don't ever ask you, do you like the haircut? How's the haircut? I ask you, how do you feel?
Yeah.
I want you to feel good in the barber shop.
You literally never been like,
I don't say, how's your haircut look? It's how do you feel? And I want you to feel like you feel comfortable, you feel happy, you like me. And so.
That's a good like barometer question to ask. All right. Number 3, reliability and consistency are more important than excitement and pizzazz for customer retention.
I would say I'm also in on that. We get a lot of people who come from other barbershops and they'll say, they did a great haircut. I really liked them, but they were never on time, or they canceled appointments on me, or they just don't show up. So being reliable and on point with that is very important.
I agree with you. And I think you stated it perfectly. And anybody who's had like a customer experience, like, I went to, whether it's a barbershop or something, like, I'll give a barbershop example. I went to a barbershop, they had nicer furniture maybe than you do at your shop. And they had fancier beer, or they had like a beer tap.
Yeah.
You're smiling because you know which place I'm talking about. But and then like, it's like, okay, cool.
But they're 20 minutes behind. Like, this free beer isn't serving my time.
Exactly. And then half the time that barber was just talking to the other barber about his girlfriend that he's getting into arguments with. And I'm like, oh.
Or taking a smoke break in between, or.
Exactly. Yeah. So I agree. Like, I think it can be, for a lot of like small business owners, entrepreneurs, it can be like easy to follow like the flashy, stuff for your business, or like deck out your brick and mortar store with like the coolest shit, or to invest in the best possible digital marketing for your company. But like, if you're not providing just like a reliable and consistent product or service, like, it's got to start with, that's got to be the foundation. That's got to be like where all the focus is. All right, last one. The best customer service advice is just shut up and get your customer to talk.
I am going to say I'm in on that one.
Okay.
Like I have said earlier in the episode, I let the customer lead. If they don't want to talk, I'm not going to force them to talk. I'm not going to try and draw it out of them. They will talk if they want to talk. And it's as simple as that. So don't force it. Just be friendly and embrace the silence if they're not feeling talkative.
I honestly, whether it's somebody cutting my hair, whether it's a vendor that's trying to provide me with podcasting tools, if they talk too much, I don't trust them.
Because you feel like they're trying to sell you on something.
It's nervousness. And I'm like, what are you hiding?
Yeah.
What's behind there? Like when I worked with Coastal Creative and Zach and the team here, he didn't talk too much, was just calm, answered my questions, consistent, reliable, done. Like now customer for life kind of thing. So it's like, those are really important things. Just that I would teach so many sales reps and marketers and customer success folks is like, talk less. Like managers tell your folks to talk less. Like, cool. Well, is there any like last piece of advice that you want to give for entrepreneurs who are looking to start their business and create a foundation for like that lifelong customer that you've done a really good job of?
Just be genuine. Just be nice. It's not a hard thing, especially in today's world. I think we're all just looking for just someone to be nice, just be authentic.
Right on.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Love having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for listening. Go check out Nick's Barbershop if you're local in Florida, or you're ever going to be in St. Pete and you're visiting, BayviewBarberCo.com.
Yes.
And you can follow him on Instagram.
Bayview_St. Pete.
And then his personal Instagram with also really cool stuff. You can find him and connect with him at.
Awesome. It's Nicky_Scissorhands.
Cool. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll be here next week with another episode of the Customer Engagement Lab.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Engagement Lab, brought to you by PandaDoc. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or connect with us on LinkedIn. We love to hear from you and what you think of the show.